Benchwarmers Podcast. I am Casey Coggins here with Alvin Hebert.
What it is.
And Andrew Lira.
Howdy.
So we just started NBA free agency with a bang. And and World Cup has gotten into the knockout stages. We're going to touch on World Cup a little bit and then do a little deep dive into NBA free agency, what it means for teams, who's made some good moves, because there's been a lot going on.
Who's made good moves, who's signed Lance Stevenson.
And followed it up by signing JaVale McGee.
Bum-ass JaVale McGee.
Followed that up by signing Rajon Rondo. So we'll get into that team because they did make a big splash. So we have 3/4 of the quarterfinals set after today. The last two games of the round of 16 are tomorrow: Sweden versus Switzerland and Colombia versus England.
A whole bunch of white.
Yes. And it goes on both sides there because Colombia.
Even Colombia is white as hell.
But not in the skin color way.
Oh dear God.
So after watching the first 6 teams advance, we have Uruguay, France, Brazil, Belgium, Russia, Croatia. I just feel out of watching. I didn't get to watch the Brazil-Mexico game today. It seems like it seems like it's France or Brazil's tournament to lose, based on the way that they've played, the talent that they have, and who they would face going forward. Like it looks like their toughest game is going to be
each other.
Each other. Like it's going to be this next game because Brazil plays a really good Belgium team who just got kind of caught out of position a little bit and gave up 2 goals back to back with Japan. And I didn't get to see the 2 goals that they scored because I was driving home from the bank. I was like, why couldn't they wait? And my bank isn't far.
I got a podcast to record. I need to watch everything.
But then the goal that won it in stoppage time, I tweeted out. I was like, that was reminiscent for me of the Landon Donovan goal, the U.S. goal against Algeria in 2010, where it came off of a corner kick. I think Algeria was actually attacking, but Japan was in the offensive side of the field, and the keeper ended up getting to the ball and made a quick outlet pass, and they just counterattacked and had numbers and just timed their passes perfectly. And the most underrated part of the counter, I think, that led to the goal is the feint or the fake that Lukaku did, because the pass was coming to him, but he had the defender on him. So instead of taking it, he let it go by him, and the keeper didn't have time to react. And Belgium got that winning goal. But you had the Spain-Russia game. I don't know how Spain didn't win that game, other than the fact that they lost. Like that's if you look at that game and you didn't look at like a score or anything, you'd be like, oh yeah, Spain won that game. Like there's no way they didn't win that game. And then you find out that they lost, and you're like, how the hell did that happen? And I was expecting, with how experienced Spain was, the type of guys that were going up for penalty kicks, that they were going to put it in the back of the net all 5 times.
No, they didn't.
And they did not.
That did not happen. That didn't.
And then the Croatia-Denmark game, same day, goes to PKs. And then it was the first time in World Cup history that a goalkeeper has saved 3 penalties. And they ended up advancing 3-2 on PKs. There was a few different kind of firsts in World Cup history. It's the first time in the knockouts that a team rallied from being down 2 goals since like 1950. And
I remember those days.
Oh, great.
God, there was another one that I saw. Oh, it was the largest upset in World Cup history, knockout rounds, for Russia beating Spain. It's the 3rd largest upset in World Cup history, Russia beating Spain. So that was kind of a big deal, but it doesn't seem that big when you look on the other side of the bracket and you're looking at Uruguay beating Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal, sending them home. And then you have Argentina getting just dominated by Mbappe. Like, dominated.
Couldn't keep
dominated. It was
keep up.
Mbappe became the 2nd youngest player ever to score 2 World Cup goals in the same game. The first being Pele. And when I was hearing all of that stuff, it kind of sent me down the rabbit hole with researching and looking up things, because my favorite like soccer player of all time is the original Ronaldo. And like, he was, when I kind of got into watching international soccer, was him after his injuries, like his major injury. And so I didn't get to see the like mid-90s Ronaldo that when I was like doing the research
in his prime.
Like,
Ronaldo's.
yeah, the when he was 18 years old and playing for Brazil, he won it in 94. They got runner-up in 98, and he won it again in 2002. Like, he won 2 and had a semifinal in his other World Cup appearance. And until I think Muller from Germany last World Cup beat him out for he had the most World Cup goals of all time with 15. But like that's kind of the path that when you see a guy like Mbappe who's 19 years old playing like this in his first World Cup action, and seeing like how he's just going to get better and the type of speed that he has, like he could be the next, Cristiano Ronaldo, because that's kind of the size that he has. He's a bigger guy, and he's quick and
got ball skills too.
Yeah. Let's see. We had Uruguay, France, Russia, Croatia. I didn't get to watch the Brazil game, unfortunately.
It was fun.
I did hear Neymar.
It was a lot of fun.
Neymar was doing.
I mean, if you weren't rooting for
things,
Mexico,
where he was,
scoring,
rolling around the ground.
a lot of rolling.
A lot of theatrics with him.
He got stepped on.
Then,
you know how much that hurts?
And then he got stepped on because of it.
Stepped on with cleats. That hurts.
You can tell.
I've been spiked. I've been spiked before.
Shit hurts.
I
don't play that shit.
But Brazil definitely outclassed Mexico, which Mexico had a valiant run. But they've lost. They've made it to the round of 16 in the last 7 World Cups, and they haven't made it past the round of 16 in all 7. They've lost it this round every single time.
They've never scored on Brazil either.
Never. Yeah, I saw that.
And it's not like
I heard about that.
Brazil's,
that's a little fun fact.
It's not like Brazil's always been like a defensive powerhouse either. It's not like, I mean, look at last World Cup. They obviously could give up goals.
We don't talk about that one.
We talk about that one as much as we can. Until they win another World Cup, we're talking about that one game.
But has never scored on Brazil. Like, damn.
I mean, the United States got their first goal against France in the exhibition right before the World Cup.
The World Cup warm-ups.
Yeah. Now, granted, they'd only played France 3 times before, and I don't know how many times Mexico and Brazil have played, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's only been like 6 or 7 times. And then the last game was Belgium. I had talked about the stoppage time goal. They were the first team to come back from a 2-goal deficit. And I didn't see any of the first half. But the first half wasn't worth watching. It was really all about the second half of that game.
First half was all Japan.
Yeah, the first half was all Japan. It was exciting.
That was 2 separate games that were played.
Well, Japan came out in the second half and scored those 2 goals within the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Well, how many goals have been scored?
No. It was 0-0 at halftime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then by the 60th minute, it was 2-0.
But that's a story of the world. I mean, the World Cup in general. That's how it's been. This whole tournament, having more goals been scored in the second half than the first.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet earlier today that was listing the most goals scored in stoppage time in World Cup history. And this tournament's already at 9 goals scored in stoppage time, and it's the most ever. And we're not even through the round of 16 yet. Now, I mean, we have
how the game
1,
ended
2,
like that, though,
3,
on that
4,
counterattack.
5.
I was like, that's how you win the game.
Oh man, I was like, that's what Mexico needed.
I was like, damn, that sucks.
So, again, Sweden, Switzerland, Colombia, England tomorrow. I think the Colombia-England game is going to be a really good game. And the right side of this bracket is going to have an unlikely finalist. Because you're looking at Russia versus Croatia in one quarterfinal. And then one of those 4 teams, Sweden, Switzerland, Colombia, England. In none of those teams, I mean, I personally had Colombia making it to the semis, and that was just kind of on a whim. England wasn't really expected to do all that much. They're kind of in a weird transition era, and then Sweden and Switzerland are kind of middle of the pack teams. So you had all of your, other than Spain on the right side, you had all of your powers on the left side of the bracket. So you're going to see Uruguay, France, Brazil, or Belgium in a final against one of these other teams. So,
who do you have against Russia and Croatia?
What do I have against them?
Who do you have against coming out between them?
Between them, Croatia.
Croatia.
But that's because I've been down on Russia the whole time.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. I feel like I was the only one that put a flag on them. Like, hey,
no need to turn it up now.
I mean, to be fair, they are the lowest ranked team in the World Cup.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, they were lower ranked than Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
They were lower ranked than Egypt, and they beat both of those teams. I mean, maybe I need to watch Icarus
soundly.
Yeah, man, this is fucking nuts.
And yeah, they put it together in penalties, and Spain just didn't have that unlocking piece as an attacker. They needed somebody that could get into the middle of the field and try to
step up in clutch and try to make something happen.
And they got close, but Isco was like the only guy who was doing anything for them on the offensive side. I mean, they passed the ball around a lot, but they'd never like really got into a threatening position. So we'll get into the semifinals next Tuesday. The quarters will be played this weekend. So we'll discuss more on the World Cup later. So let's get into the most exciting time of the year for NBA fans for the last 3 years. The NBA free agency started, and I believe the first really announcement was Paul George. That was before midnight. Yeah, there was another player that had announced they were going to sign a deal, but it was kind of like a mid-tier level player.
Talking about DeAndre Jordan?
No. DeAndre Jordan came like an hour later. Maybe like 20 minutes. No, I'm just exaggerating.
Yeah, there was one player who signed right before Paul George, or announced he was going to sign right before Paul George. And then Paul George at the house party, smoking cigars and hanging out with Nas and Russ.
Russ ditching his family vacation to go back to OKC.
For the house party.
Yeah.
For his own house party.
For his own house party. I guess I gotta host the house party, babe. I guess I gotta leave Hawaii.
They said I gotta be there.
Right.
I'll get into it a little bit later, but the Paul George deal still leaves me a little bit of hope with the Kawhi Spurs situation as far as leverage goes. But apparently from everything that's been said today by Rachel Nichols and Ramona Shelburne and the other ESPN sources, Woj, that Paul George made up his mind 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But they was all shocked about it. I can't believe he signed that kind of deal.
Well, just the day before, there was already talks about how Paul George wasn't sure what he was gonna do. I still don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he just because he was all right, well, I think I'm going to sign with Oklahoma City. It doesn't, until he can actually sign, there's still that chance that, July 1st hits and, midnight hits and Magic is on the phone with Paul George. And that's one of the reasons why they were saying that Russ threw the house party is because the Lakers couldn't reach out until July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to make sure, kind of like the opposite of...
The phrase that was going around was they never let him off the lot.
Yeah.
They don't give you a chance to reach out to him.
Yeah, they never let Paul George talk to the Lakers brass. They just made sure he committed and signed before he had a chance to meet with them because the Lakers were so scared of getting the tampering thing thrown out again because they were already fined $500,000 for it. So they were really careful about who they were talking to and when they were talking and those types of things that had allowed Oklahoma City to kind of sneak in there with the deal and convince Paul George to stay.
Which gets me to a little conspiracy theory. Here's a rabbit hole. There's something in the water in OKC.
Something in the water?
There's something in the water.
I think
OKC hasn't been able to get any free agent signings, really. No big deals. Nobody wants to play in OKC, really, right? That's just how it's been.
I mean...
In the time that KD left, he wasn't in OKC. He was in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
There's something in the water at OKC. If this was somewhere else, if this was just on an Indian reservation in Oklahoma, Paul George would be in LA. Chase that rabbit down there.
This is my theory. I think he saw what happened with Chris Bosh. He saw what happened with Kevin Love. He's I don't want to be that.
That was one of the things I was going to bring up. The other thing is, think about when Oklahoma City loses, who gets blamed first?
It's
Russ.
Now think about when LeBron loses, who gets blamed first?
J.R. Smith.
Teammate, owner,
He's
GM.
not on my team anymore.
Yeah.
Still J.R. Smith.
But that's when they lost when he was with the Heat and they lost to the Spurs in the finals. The only time that he was the one that was blamed was the 2011 finals.
Yep. When he didn't show up.
Every finals, only in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, he just disappeared.
Yeah. But when they lost to the Spurs, it was the team was old. The team wasn't ready.
They had the oldest team and oldest roster in the league.
Yeah,
playing against 35-year-old Tim Duncan.
35. He was 38 at the time.
That wasn't 38. He's 40 right now.
No, he was 40. He was turning 40 when he retired.
Yes, guys, we're talking about a grown man's age here.
But yeah, it was 14. He retired after 16, and he was turning 40 that year.
Okay, we'll say he's 36.
Really, Danny was younger. Kawhi was only 23. So the Spurs had some more youth, but
So Tim Duncan is 42 right now. Just put that.
So that was 38.
that's what I said. Don't mess with me with my Tim Duncan age.
Now that we got that out there.
Now that we got that cleared.
But yeah, so like Paul George looks over there and is like, man, do I really want to go over there and become the scapegoat? Like LeBron made the finals with a bunch of those ragtag guys in Cleveland, and now he's playing with Paul George and Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball and playing with the Lakers and like their youth and the talent that they have. Because who knows what they're going to do with the rest of their roster now. They just lost Julius Randle. They made the weird signings.
Hey, you gotta give it up for their sense of humor. Magic said if he don't sign no free agents, he's resigning. You know what he did? He fucking signed free agents. I ain't resigning over this shit. Lance Stevenson, hey, he's fine. Whatever. JaVale McGee, yeah, he's a bum, but it's okay. Rajon Rondo can't really coach him, but hey.
I mean, so here's where
they all love LeBron James.
Yeah,
it's
LeBron's team.
It gets to the point where, like, the more I look at it, the more I realize that shit. Maybe they're just saying, let's see how this year plays out. We have all these old guys on 1-year contracts, so if this year doesn't go the way we would like it to, we don't have to sign any of those guys, free up the cap space because none of those guys resign, and instead of trading anybody for Kawhi, they just wait and hope that he signs next year. Which is I'm close to getting to my Kawhi stuff because
it's coming.
because I have there's so many options that can happen with Kawhi that it's such a weird situation to see the Spurs in, and really in any NBA team would be in. But I kind of think we glossed over. LeBron did end up announcing last night that he was signing a 4-year deal with the Lakers, 3 years with a player option on the fourth.
$154 million.
And that was kind of the surprising thing to me. And then the more I thought about it and the more I talked with people about it, the more it kind of made sense.
The last song.
That, not necessarily that, but what plagued the Lakers with free agents over the last, 6 seasons?
They couldn't get a star player.
Well, it was when they had Kobe, is nobody wanted to play with Kobe. The contract sucked for Kobe. Kobe's contract
it was a loyalty thing.
Was bad.
And they had them under the cap space.
And nobody wanted to play with Kobe, and nobody knew when Kobe was going to retire. And it's kind of the opposite way with LeBron, in the way that if LeBron would have done his 2-year deal with a player option after the first year, it would have been seen the same way it was seen in Cleveland. Cleveland couldn't necessarily build for the future because they wanted to win now because they had LeBron. And so they were in a constant state of purgatory of what to do with the things that they had. And so that's why you see J.R. Smith's contract, Tristan Thompson's contract, the guys that they traded for. They were trying to appease LeBron and try to win another championship with him. But they also were trying to move things around to where if he did leave this year, they had at least something.
Curveball. Kawhi backs out of the deal with LA and re-signs with Cleveland. Just to make headlines. It's going to be on 4th of July.
Re-signs with Cleveland?
He can't sign.
This announcement wasn't...
He can't sign with anybody. Kawhi can't sign with anybody.
No, he's not going to sign anybody. He's not going to sign. He's going to just decommit. It's I'm not going to go to LA.
LeBron.
Yeah. Did I say Kawhi?
You said Kawhi.
Yeah.
Oh, LeBron
Kawhi can't sign anything because he's still under contract.
No, LeBron is going to back out of his deal with...
And now the Lakers have Rajon Rondo and Lance Stevenson and JaVale McGee.
Yes. He sees this and he's like, hold on, I haven't fucking signed anything. I'm out of here.
Lance Stevenson.
I got J.R. Smith 2.0 over here.
We're gonna be roommates.
Whisper sweet nothings in their ears.
God.
Yeah, man.
But so now it's the idea that LeBron is in it for the long haul, and so next year's free agent class, which has much. It probably has a deeper talent pool than this year's does, but it doesn't have the top tier talent that this one does. Because Kevin Durant he opted in, I think. He stayed with it, so he has the ability to be a free agent next year. Kawhi will be a free agent if he doesn't end up signing anything. Klay Thompson.
Jimmy Butler.
Porzingis. So there's going to be quite a bit of big name free agents out there that if the Lakers stay the course with what they have now, they could very easily sign, one or two more big stars next year.
Well, there's talks about KD just going to LA after this.
Yeah, I mean, that was the rumor. The rumor is that LeBron was texting KD and asking him about LA if he wanted to go to LA and team up there. But
what about the talks of Melo getting bought out by OKC? Go to LA.
That'd be such a smart move for the Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of him.
Well, yeah, bite the bullet. Just pay the money and free up cap space.
Didn't New York buy out his contract too?
I believe he was traded.
It was a trade?
It was a trade because that's what took Doug McDermott to the Knicks. Mm-hmm. And then they traded McDermott to the Mavs. And
I know there was talks about
the Pacers. I believe the Pacers were looking at signing McDermott. But
that's $37 million on a player that's not what he used to be.
Not worth $37 million.
37? I thought it was 27.6.
I thought it was.
I think it's 27.
Let me double check that before people start fact checking me and shit.
But yeah, I mean, what are you going to do with Melo? That's the thing. Paul George is still relatively young. Russ is still relatively young. Melo is 34 now, so he needs
27.9.
Yeah.
Upside down 6.
Yeah, close enough.
Melo needs to be. Well, one, I think we've all talked about how he needs to check his pride at the door whenever he walks into the next team that he plays for. He needs to say, I'm not the man I was. I can't do the same things on the court that I used to do. I can't lead the league in scoring ever again.
Or it will be another Allen Iverson situation.
Yeah.
Melo needs to play with a hoodie.
Right. Well, we've all agreed on that, too. We think that Nike needs to make a special NBA jersey for Carmelo Anthony only.
Hoodie jersey.
But Melo needs to go and, going to the Lakers and coming off the bench in that not a 6-man role. He's a 7th man. He's a guy who you play it like a stretch 4 and don't ISO. Don't let him ISO anymore.
Stop that.
Don't do that.
So I mean, maybe you send him to he goes to Houston where they allow people to ISO.
Where they're cool with it.
Yeah, or Phoenix. Let him just kind of ride out the rest of his career with a bunch of young dudes who want to score 70 a game. Melo is kind of a lost art in the NBA. He plays a position in a style that just does not thrive anymore. Because he's a pound the ball, he has all the moves. He can post. But he's never been a great 3-point shooter. He's always kind of been a mid-range. He lost his first step, so he doesn't blow by people anymore.
He doesn't like playing in the post anymore. All he does is just ISO jump shots.
Yeah, so it's he has to become a catch and shoot kind of guy, where you in a pick and pop, pick and roll kind of player. And that's why I say he needs to kind of check his pride at the door, because like he needs to understand, like, you don't have the legs, you don't have the quickness, you just, these guys, like, you can't go against Giannis. Like, if Giannis is guarding you, you're not going to score as many easy buckets that you used to. So it would be smart of Oklahoma City to buy him out and just kind of say, let's have the core of Steven Adams, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and build from there. Let's see. I'm trying to think of any other free agents moves that we need to discuss. Because I don't think that there has been any other kind of big splashes. There was the Julius Randle going to New Orleans that kind of opens the door for Boogie to move and sign a prove-it contract with somebody. The speculation is the Lakers with him.
And they could get him on a discount. Like, dang.
Yeah. And then next year, they can re-sign him to a bigger deal if he looks healthy. But I always thought that Boogie would be best served going to like DC and playing with John Wall, and getting the band back together with John Wall, and just because that's kind of what I thought might happen when they traded for Austin Rivers and got rid of Gortat. Is all right. Well, they got rid of the guy who hated John Wall the most. And they got rid of a big man, so they need to get another big man. And I had been pitching the idea of a sign and trade with Bradley Beal, sending Bradley Beal to New Orleans and getting DeMarcus Cousins up to Washington. But we'll see what happens there. The Kawhi saga now, though.
Here we go.
So there's a few things. So one, and I tweeted a list of things. Here, I'll actually just read off my list of things that kind of gives me hope still. Because certain things played out in a way that a lot of people were like, Will Kane on ESPN was like, why would the Lakers make a move now? Why just play out this full year? And Kawhi wants to come next year. Just let him play in San Antonio this year and deal with it next year. So one, LeBron to the Lakers wasn't surprising. We all agree on that.
Yeah.
So it goes to the point that the 4-year deal was smart, knowing people would be scared to sign, knowing he might leave. So that's why he signs that 3-year, 3+1 deal. The Spurs still have good leverage for a trade, though. LeBron needs to win a title within his first 2 years. The reason that is because he's 33 going on 34. So he's not going to, like, this year is probably the best year of the next 5. Let's say he plays until he's 40, giving him another, 6-7 years. Like, this past year that he played is probably going to be the best of them. So he's going to slowly decrease his minutes, decrease his usage, still be as effective.
Breaking. DeMarcus Cousins has agreed to a deal.
With the Lakers?
With the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Woj bomb. 50 seconds ago.
Blowing it up.
That wasn't a Woj bomb. That was a Shams bomb.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Woj didn't give him credit. SB Nation is.
Yeah, Shams tweeted it at 7:33. I don't like that sign by Golden State.
Let me look up y'all keep going.
Because he signed a 1-year, $5.3 million deal with the Warriors.
Oh, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, he's only going to be playing half the year.
That's true. But, so here's we'll get back to the Kawhi thing now that we have the breaking news. DeMarcus Cousins doesn't fit the way that the Golden State Warriors play. The Golden State Warriors have always started a true center and played him like 18 minutes a night. Like he's not a focal point. They use him in pick and rolls. Like look at the way they use JaVale McGee. Look at the way they use Zaza when he played. Like they don't, the way that they use Looney and Jordan Bell. Like that's the type of, they don't need a DeMarcus Cousins. I think DeMarcus Cousins is going to, unless he truly buys into the system and really just says, look, I'm just trying to show people that I'm healthy. So he doesn't care if he scores 10 points. Like the starting center for Golden State does not need to score 10 points. Doesn't even need to get double-digit rebounds.
I think that's a great deal for the Warriors.
It's a great deal for the Warriors because they're getting a talent at $5.3 million. But like I was saying, like it comes down to how is Boogie going to come in and fit in with this type of team.
It's going to be great because you already know Draymond Green is not that good of a shooter.
Right.
So he could just stay in the paint, and you got Boogie Cousins that could shoot the ball.
He's an all right shooter, but
I mean, he could score. He could shoot from outside 18.
I mean, he's a better shooter than Draymond.
Yeah, but it just gives another option on the floor. Like you got KD, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and Boogie Cousins. 4 of those people could get you 20 plus a night.
Right,
but that's depending on how Cousins come back.
That's how does he come back, but also how does he fit? Because he doesn't play that same kind of Draymond Green role. He's never really been a great ball mover. He's like a tall Melo, like from his entire career. And he hasn't played with talent like this, but look at how he was meshing with Anthony Davis. Like, they were all right, but they weren't going to make the playoffs with those two guys. And then when Boogie Cousins got hurt, Anthony Davis was allowed to thrive. Like, the Pelicans got better when Cousins went down because of how Cousins plays.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like, on that team, you're not going to be asking him to do a whole lot. You got somebody that can rebound the ball.
That's what I'm saying is you're pretty much, he has to come in saying, like, I'm not looking for much out of, like, this. I'm looking to come in and show people that I can produce when I'm playing. But he needs, that's the only way I see it working, is if he goes in with the mindset that I'm not a star on this team, I just have to play a role, and then next year, since it's only a 1-year deal, next year people will see that I'm healthy, and then I'll get that deal that I was going to get this year.
Pretty much what we did with the Spurs did with Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay. Yeah, and Rudy Gay didn't have to play a lot. He proved that he was healthy, and we were lucky enough to re-sign him.
What was Rudy Gay coming off of, though?
A torn Achilles.
Same thing?
Yeah. Ruptured Achilles.
Popped Achilles.
Rudy Gay basically opted out just to get a $2 million raise.
DeMarcus Cousins, the last,
Boogie says
years.
He's hopeful to return December or January.
DeMarcus Cousins' career three-point percentage is 34%. Which Draymond Green,
I'm assuming Draymond Green is around the same or probably a little bit lower.
Probably lower.
He is a 33%. So they're equivalently, they're equal 3-point shooters.
Right, but, I mean,
and DeMarcus Cousins shoots more, which hurts the percentage. So he, when you shoot less and your percentage is 33, it doesn't necessarily indicate that you're a bad shooter. You just don't take enough. But when you're shooting a lot and you're shooting 33, it typically means you're not that great of a shooter.
I don't know.
That's just the statistics, how that kind of plays out. So now with that deal, circles me back to my tweet about LeBron signing and the Spurs still having trade leverage with the Lakers, is that LeBron, with how uncertain the NBA is, you want to put all your eggs in the basket when you can. Like, if you have a chance to turn Brandon Ingram into Kawhi Leonard and be able to compete with the Warriors legitimately this season and next season, based off of how the rest of the roster plays out, I think you have to go for it. So I said LeBron needs a title within the first 2 years, because that's when this is the last of his prime. After these first 2 years, it's not going to be the same LeBron. Lakers should know the young guys need another year to be ready. So Kyle Kuzma is 23. Brandon Ingram's 21. Lonzo's 20. Like, these guys, to be able to play a consistent 7 games against the Warriors, they need another year of experience in the playoffs. The Lakers haven't made the playoffs in the last 5 years. Brandon Ingram played, I think, 1 game in the NCAA tournament when he was at Duke. I think they lost early when he was there. So, like, a few of these guys have never played crucial NBA minutes. The Warriors went through it. Oklahoma City went through it. LeBron went through it. Like, most NBA teams and NBA players, they have to go through that adversity in the playoffs before they really thrive. So even if let's say the Lakers get the 2 seed and they're that good during the regular season, which I don't see them getting the 2 seed, you're going to put up these guys against the Warriors, who've won 3 of the last 4 titles, who, when they play a LeBron team, they have just as much to prove as they ever have, especially this Lakers team. Now it's a big rivalry. LeBron came to the West. You get to prevent him from going to the finals. Like, the motivation's there for the Warriors. And Brandon Ingram's not ready to go up against Kevin Durant in the playoff series. Kawhi is. Kawhi's done it. So Lakers should go all in for this year, knowing nothing is certain, and Kawhi is just 27.
The Warriors are literally an all NBA starting lineup from 2015 to 2016. Steph Curry, first team. Klay Thompson, third team. Kevin Durant, second team. Draymond Green, second team. DeMarcus Cousins, second team.
Yeah.
They are all NBA.
Yeah.
Fantasy basketball at its finest.
Jesus. This is like when Jerry Jones tried building his fantasy team for the Cowboys.
So in that kind of, that just, I think, helps. All of the moves that have happened have helped the Spurs' hand a little bit, because you can see teams like Philly or Boston that have good young assets to give up and future picks and stuff. Be like, all right, well, look at what Paul George did. Like, he played 1 year with Russell Westbrook, and he didn't sign with the Lakers. Like, he stayed because I guess he thought that was the best place for him, even though he said all he wanted to do was be in LA. So what gives you the idea that, you know, if Boston trades for him, everybody's like, well, why would you trade somebody for a 1 year rental? That's exactly what they said about Indiana and Oklahoma City's trade. Like, why would you trade for him when he's just going to go to LA? And now he's not in LA. and Boston's on the cusp of winning the East this year now. Like, they're probably going to be representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals, unless Philly's like, well, everybody's hyping up Boston. Why not give up a Covington and a Fultz and a first rounder for Kawhi and pair him with Ben Simmons and JJ Redick and Joel Embiid? So I think it's every move that has been made has kind of helped the leverage the Spurs have. There's still an inkling of hope that they work it out, and Kawhi just plays this year for the Spurs. The worst thing that Kawhi could do for himself is sit out and not show people that he's fully healthy.
Not according to
Stephen A.
Yeah, he already said he's ready to sit out the year if he doesn't get traded.
Stephen A. wasn't saying that was a good idea. He was saying that that's something he could do, which really he can't. It would go into a bunch of legal ramifications because he's withholding service. And so he would just not get paid this year, so if he's willing to sacrifice this year's pay...
That'd be what, like 30, 40 mil?
20.
20?
He's not in that...
He hasn't gotten there yet.
He hasn't gotten that extension yet. So, I think the worst thing he could do is stay with the Spurs and just not try, because then it's showing other teams like, well, if he's unhappy with the situation, this is just how he's going to act. Like, it's just... I think the way that it's all been handled, the Spurs still have a lot of leverage in the things that they can do in the Kawhi situation. They can still try to repair anything going on. As I was saying earlier, the Nuggets and Hornets, I think I saw, is what I read, are eyeing Tony Parker, seeing if Tony Parker might leave, which wouldn't surprise me because he is an unrestricted free agent. The Spurs benched him. He was not very playable for the most part in the playoffs because of just the way that the Warriors play. You have to have youth and athleticism and length and defense, and DeJounte's the future point guard of the Spurs. And it kind of gets to the same point with Tony as it does Kawhi, is like, as much as Spurs fans would love to keep these guys, like at some point you have to realize, like, if they decide to go elsewhere, like, you clap your hands, you applaud them, you thank them for their service to the Spurs and how great they were as a Spur, and the titles that they brought, and you let them go and finish off their career somewhere else, and you try to get building for the future. I'm just ready. I think all of San Antonio is, and most of the NBA is ready for this whole Kawhi Spurs drama to end. But it seems like it's still quite a ways away from ending. Do y'all have any ideas and thoughts on the Kawhi situation, as far as, do you think that the Spurs still have the leverage? Do you think that the Lakers are going to hold off? Do you think another team's going to trade for him? Alvin, what is your thought process on this whole deal?
I think the Spurs still have the leverage, because I think the other team that's still strongly possible is the 76ers. Just because there's Spurs ties over there that apparently Kawhi doesn't have issues with those people. Like, he loves those people, he says. And his uncle, the one that's so-called
Uncle Dennis.
Yeah, handling all of his business and talking for him. He lives in, South New Jersey, which is not that far from Philly, apparently.
Yeah.
So, that's, a strong possibility of that situation you said with Paul George in Oklahoma. that he could possibly like decide to re-sign there instead of playing in a team in LA.
Yeah, I did see, and it kind of made me rethink, because I think Markelle Fultz, when he fixes his shot, is going to be phenomenal. Because he wasn't a bad shooter in college. He just got to the NBA and had the shoulder thing and forgot how to shoot. But he kind of is the same player at this moment in time that DeJounte is. I think he's just a little bit taller. But it's like, do we want to trade Kawhi for another guy who's like DeJounte? Because I personally, if we lose Kawhi, we need to get a guy like Kawhi as far as like build and position goes. That's why I'm to the point where I'm like, Brandon Ingram in a second round pick gets y'all Kawhi. Like, because Brandon Ingram's not even 21 yet. He's 6'10", has a great shooting touch, can handle the ball. You put him in the team defense concept with the Spurs and let him understand, like, look, you don't have to try to go get yours. You just play our system and you'll be fine. And let him develop a couple years with DeJounte, with Lonnie Walker, and some of the younger guys that the Spurs have now. Derek White is supposed to probably get promotion and get a lot of playing time. Kyle Anderson's still not that old. I think he's like 24 right now. So, like, say, just cave. Like, to me, it's like, do y'all think the Spurs will win a title in the next 3 years?
No.
I don't either. So why not give LA and give Golden State and even give Houston their nice little 3-year run, get rid of the 27-year-old, get a 21-year-old, and just say, all right, well, DeJounte, you're 20, Ingram, you're 21, Lonnie, you're 19, Kyle Anderson, you're 24. Like, the only old guys on the team are Manu, Danny, LaMarcus, who will become role players, and just let these young guys develop into being their own big three.
What does it say about the Lakers, though, that they couldn't get Boogie? I think it says a lot right there.
Were
they pursuing him?
I don't know. That's what I was about to say. I don't know how hard they would have pursued him.
I think that was a rumor that.
Did they pursue him at all? Because there were talks that they were interested. I don't know if they made an offer. Because, I mean, this time that they spent signing Lance Stevenson and
so let's say
JaVale McGee.
Oh, yeah. So let's say they did give him, like, hey, look, we want to sign you to this 1 year. Let's even say they offered him like $7 million. 1 year, $7 million. And then Golden State comes in, well, we'll offer you 1 year, 5.3, which is what he signed. If he looks at those rosters and he looks at everything, well, if I go to LA, like, I'm going to be in the same position I was this year. I go to Golden State, I probably win a title. I finally get a ring, and then I can take that experience to my next contract. It doesn't say anything about the Lakers, I don't think. I think it says more about how people see that the ring, getting a championship. Like, a championship, like...
I'm just saying, nobody's not trying to be a Kevin Love or Chris Bosh right now when they go and play with LeBron James, because he wants to prove that he could still ball out and just, like, show out for this contract whenever he returns and all that stuff. So then he could, on that next contract, somebody's willing to offer him big money.
Right.
For his services.
So that's it. We'll see how he comes back and, like, the type of role he plays and what he tries to prove, what he's trying to do. If he's just trying to show that he's healthy, but he's not trying to go out and get 25s and 12s, the Warriors will probably win another championship. And he'll get his contract because he showed enough that he was healthy enough to be that kind of guy in the future. Like if he's every 5 games he plays drops to 20-10, that's proving enough. He doesn't have to do it every game. He could go 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 20-10 the entire year, and people will give him the contract because he's turning 27 this year. Maybe he's younger than that. It might be 26. I think he's 26. So we'll kind of see on that. But I don't think it says anything about the Lakers. I think it just says that he probably looked at the situation and was like, well, that looks like a situation I've been in before. This looks like I'm getting a title. So, and then next year he can sign with a bigger contract with the Lakers if need be. So I think we can move on from our free agency talk because there's still...
DeMarcus Cousins is 27 right now.
He's 27 right now?
Yep.
Okay, he turns 28 in August. August 13th is what I saw when I looked up his numbers.
You stalked him?
I stalked him. Yep. I hacked into his Facebook. He actually didn't sign with Golden State. That was me leaking false information.
God damn it.
So let's go on to On Fire and Dyer and Prophecies. Andrew, I'll let you lead off with the On Fire.
Ooh, shit. Excuse me. On Fire, I've got Russia, man. Taking it back to the World Cup. They're just killing the game.
Da.
Literally.
Da.
You like some vodka?
That win over Spain. I mean, they went to PKs, but I mean, a win's a win. One's advancing, one's going home.
The biggest upset in World Cup history.
Yeah, man.
World Cup knockout history.
World Cup knockout history.
Biggest win in history was when Mexico beat Germany.
That wasn't as big of an upset as Russia's ranked 70 in the world.
You just want to hang your
Germany was ranked number 1 in the world.
Spain, I believe, was 3.
No, Belgium was 3.
Yeah.
Spain was like 10.
Were they?
Yeah.
I thought they were higher up than that.
Nah, man, I looked it up already, trust me. But yeah, man, I mean, they've been fucking showing out. They've been showing out they showed out in group stages. They just won again this round of 16. So, I have them. I think they could have another one in there.
It's very possible. It's not like they're playing like super powerhouses now.
Well, they're taking out the powerhouses.
They took out a powerhouse, yeah.
Well, they had Spain power rank number 2 coming into the...
that was the power rank.
16.
But the FIFA Coca-Cola World Rankings has Spain at 10 and Russia at 70.
Yeah.
My On Fire is the Eastern Conference of the NBA.
That was mine too.
You finally get a chance to show other teams in the spotlight of the NBA Finals.
Cleveland's still gonna make the finals.
That'd be hilarious. There, somebody put out Las Vegas odds place put out the odds, the over/under for the Lakers wins for this season at like 62.5, and they put the over/under for wins for the Cavs at 22.5. So Toronto gets a chance to finally prove that they can beat. Well, I mean, they've been able to beat other teams outside of LeBron. Boston doesn't have to go through him anymore. Philly can
Toronto.
Yeah, that's what I let off with is Toronto. Like somebody joked around about LeBron signed with the Lakers, and like Dwayne Casey was like, "Oh, so now you leave." And so I think like teams like the Bucks who are on the rise, the Knicks getting Porzingis back, like there's Indiana. They looked like they were really good and ready to, like, they looked like they might be able to take a next step this year.
Toronto? Just to bring it back.
So yeah, I think the Eastern Conference of the NBA, they must be feeling really good about themselves. However, once LeBron signed in the Western Conference, the joke question was, who's the best player in the Eastern Conference now? Like, seriously, think about that question.
Embiid,
because Giannis.
Yeah, if you're talking about just like talent alone, like not taking like what they do for their team and all that stuff, somebody's just based off of talent. NBA talent.
Embiid.
No, this is Giannis.
No.
Off talent?
Off talent, Embiid is much more talented.
Oh my God! Yeah. No way.
Yes. Ben Simmons.
I mean, we know your taste in basketball players ever since you didn't get Ben Simmons as Rookie of the Year.
Who's the best player on the 76ers?
The best player on the Sixers?
Yes.
I'll say Embiid.
Ben Simmons is equally talented as Giannis. He just does it in lesser minutes. You have your laptop up.
Let's look it up right now.
Go to Basketball Reference.
You just said that Simmons is equally talented as Giannis.
Ben Simmons is actually probably more talented because he's a better passer. The thing that makes Giannis who he is that he's like 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan and he can run like a gazelle.
Super athletic.
He can't shoot the ball. He's not a great passer. He's a decent defender, but he's not a great defender. Ben Simmons is a better defender. Joel Embiid is much more talented offensively.
We'll see about this.
So, Joel Embiid, let's see, going off of last year, he averaged, 23, 11, and 3.
Well, I think what you should do is go off of the per 36.
Per 36.
Because Embiid has kind of been on minutes restrictions.
Because he's always hurt.
Same thing with Ben Simmons. Hey, we're talking about talent.
Man, Joel Embiid, is this? No, this is Giannis.
All right,
he says he played 75 games.
so Giannis per 36 averages 26.3, 9.8, 4.7, 1.4, 1.4 steals and blocks.
And you say he's okay defender.
Steals and blocks do not make you a great defender. Steph Curry led the league in steals twice.
2 times. So Joel Embiid per 36 last year averaged 27.2,
13,
and 3.7 assists.
0.8 steals, 2.1 blocks. 27, 13, and
we're not gonna worry about the steals and blocks. Remember?
No, I'm saying that doesn't make you a great defender.
All right, so let's not hype up this.
But Joel Embiid is a better player than Giannis. I think Giannis is a fucking hell of an athlete. He's a freak. I mean, he is the Greek freak. But Joel Embiid is a better talent.
Yes.
2 times.
And so Giannis had a better player efficiency rating this year. Giannis had a better individual season than Embiid.
And didn't Giannis play the whole season, whole 75 games?
Well, the
I thought we were going off of tally.
But Giannis is also the focal point of the Bucks. It's Giannis or bust. So you're going to see an inflated PER and you're going to see inflated usage because it was Giannis or die with them. Whereas with the 76ers, they relied a lot on Ben Simmons and Embiid and ball movement. The 76ers.
I can't put that on Giannis just because he didn't have.
Right. That's why I said go based off of the per 36 numbers, because the per 36 numbers will really highlight when they were playing, what did they do. So while Giannis played more, had a higher usage, was able to have a higher PER, the per 36 numbers as compared to Embiid don't do it justice. That was the other person I was going to look at. So you said you had Eastern Conference as your fire too?
I was going to say that, but I'll say the Warriors landing Boogie.
They are now, they are as of now on the fire line.
According to Joel Embiid, there's still time to change your mind. LOL. Twitter fingers.
Because unlike you, I think he does fit well with the Warriors because he could be another stretch 4 or a stretch 5, and then you can have Draymond Green in the post and all that stuff, and so he's not always outside shooting threes when he's not that great of a shooter, and DeMarcus is a better shooter than Draymond, and now you just got on the defensive end, you just got two big bodies there that's going to be grabbing boards, defending the rim, and on top of that you got KD also that's starting to.
Well, I mean, like I said,
grab rebounds and play defense.
The way the Warriors use their centers is not the way that Boogie.
Well, I think they're going to have to switch up how they use them.
But we'll see. It's always nice to have its extremely talented team in hopes that they'll sacrifice for each other, sacrifice for the greater good.
Because now you got 4.
And so I just wanted to bring up Ben Simmons per 36 minutes really quick. He had 16.9 points, and we can all attest that he's not a scorer.
Yes.
So he had 8.7 rebounds, 8.7 assists, 1.8 steals, and 0.9 blocks per 36. So while he doesn't have the same kind of scoring numbers, he doubles Giannis on assists, and I believe he was like almost equal to in rebounds. So like Giannis's skill set is I am longer, faster, and I can just get to a spot better than you can. Because like we brought up Embiid, we brought up Ben Simmons, we brought up Giannis. We didn't bring up guys like Kyrie. Yeah, that's the end of the Eastern Conference. Great player list. Porzingis even, like he's up there. Oladipo's putting his name up towards the best players in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, the Eastern Conference best players list is gonna be like a fight for the Eastern Conference like player of the month every month.
That Western Conference All-Star selection is going to be fucking insane.
Yeah, and it's people saying, oh well, we need to get rid of the conference playoff system and just go to the 1-16 because of this now. And somebody tweeted out that I guess the rule is that 2/3 of the teams have to vote yes for that rule to go into effect. And why would anybody in the Eastern Conference outside of like Boston and Philly agree to that? Yeah. So Alvin, follow up your fire with your dire.
My dire is the Lakers. We already knew that they was going to get LeBron James. That's a given, no shock. But I think if they seem desperate, which it looks like each report are, like about the offer they want to get Kawhi Leonard, I think that'll just put them in the same situation that Cleveland was, that Miami was. You're just going to be signing old players for vet minimums. And you're just going to be on the same team, but in a harder conference.
Well, and see, that's why I had brought up that it seems like they're signing the players they are now to these 1-year deals so that next year they can have more flexible cap space. And as far as the desperateness goes, like if they stand pat with what they have now, I already said Lonzo's 20, Kuzma's 23, 24, Brandon Ingram's turning 21 this year. Like those guys are the future core with LeBron, and they're super young. And so let's say they do end up caving and trading for Kawhi this year because they're like, well, let's get him this year so we can at least have an extra year of LeBron's prime that we might be able to win a championship. And they get rid of Brandon Ingram. Kawhi's only 27. So it's not like they're getting older. Well, I mean, they are getting statistically older, but it's not like they're getting a guy that's, another guy like 33, 34 years old. It's not like they're getting Chris Paul or Carmelo Anthony out there. They're getting a guy who can play for them for the next 9 to 12 years, depending on how his minutes are and how his injury is. But yeah, it was great for them to sign LeBron, but they're still either a year away or a couple pieces away, depending on how they want to move forward going this year. And with having LeBron, there is that likelihood that they're going to do what Cleveland ended up doing and what Miami did. And it's like, well, let's give people to him now that don't have to develop so that we can win. And then it just kind of costs in the future.
And the 3 signees that they signed too, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, a little weird. Weird. Andrew, your Dyer.
My Dyer, I'm keeping it with the World Cup. I got Japan collapse against Belgium today. Man, it went from up 2-0 feeling high on life.
Hiroshima.
And then, they just fucking... Belgium
bomb just
dropped a bomb on them. Two goals within 5 minutes of each other. And then that third one, just in stoppage time, just to kill it and kill their dreams.
Compton sleeping on the corner.
Dude.
Hey, it's not their fault that they're all like 5'3" and they have to run like 90 yards back to defend. And these guys are like 6'4". They just couldn't move their little legs as fast.
They played good defense all game, especially when Belgium had their chances in scoring early on. For clamping down on
looking at the bracket when we were just doing our preview in the bracket that I had, I realized it was stupid of me not having some kind of Asian team in the round of 16, because it always seems like there's one Asian team at least
that makes it
because they're so tactically sound and they're so for the group and so for the team based on just because of the culture that they have. South Korea even almost made it through, and there was another team. What was the other team? Nope, it was just those two. I thought there was another team that almost made it through. But yeah, Japan has always had that tactically sound attack, and it's the kind of bend, don't break, and find our spot. And they found their spot twice, but they just couldn't hold on. And Belgium's talent in the end just kind of outclassed them there. So my Dyer is the Eastern Conference of the NBA. So yes, they are both my fire and my Dyer. They were my fire because now we get to see other teams and other players thrive in NBA Finals and yada yada yada. The Dyer is because of what we were saying. Who's the marquee player? Who's going to make these Eastern Conference teams worth watching? Are we going to watch the Eastern Conference playoffs next year? Is there a reason to?
Did we watch the Eastern Conference playoffs this year?
We did, because we watched LeBron.
I didn't even watch LeBron. All I watched was Philly, and they got bounced in the second round.
Yeah, so Philly will be a team to watch.
And Boston. We're just going to wait for them to meet up.
Yeah.
In the conference finals.
That's it.
But there's no big ticket thing, because the reason why at least it was kind of compelling is because Cleveland was so bad during the regular season that people had that hope oh shit, is this the year that LeBron loses an Eastern Conference series? And that answer was no.
That never came.
So it's
into 2 7-game series.
But you can go down the line of teams in the Eastern Conference, and like Detroit. Is Blake Griffin and Drummond going to be able to connect and make something happen there? Atlanta's not going to be any good. They're just trying to sell tickets with Trae Young. Orlando, it's not going to be very good. Charlotte, not going to be very good. Oh, that's another
guy. Or Aaron Gordon signed back with Orlando. And the Lakers was trying to get him.
Yeah, well, he was... The Pacers were looking at signing him too.
Yeah.
The Knicks, like, you don't know how Porzingis is going to come back from his injury, and Brooklyn, not going to be any good. Chicago might be better. So then you have Washington. They might have a bounce back year. I think
or they might go to a rebuild stage.
Yeah. Milwaukee is a team that might, they just because of the way that they were built, they might get that
by default number 3.
Yeah, they might get that bump next year with the talent that they have, because they do have a talented team. They have a full year of Eric Bledsoe. Miami, they'll probably be the same team this upcoming year that they were this last year. They were all right. They were good, but not great. Cleveland's going to be back down at the bottom, and then it really is going to be Indiana, Toronto, Boston, Philly as your top 4, and like Oladipo was good this year, but he's not somebody who I'm like, man, let's go watch Oladipo. That's just so. It's just the Eastern Conference is garbage. Who gets the participation trophy in the finals?
But at least it's competitive now.
And it might not even be that with how good Boston is.
It's on an even playing field.
Because they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie and without Gordon Hayward.
But it's like at least now we have a chance of making it to the finals. Everybody's got that chance now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's...
Toronto?
So let's move on to prophecies. I'm going to get back into the World Cup with my prophecy. By the time we record next week, the semifinals would have been taking place. It's going to be an all-European semifinals. So that would put France, Belgium, the winner of Russia and Croatia, and either... I mean, I have good odds on the right side of the bracket because it's Russia and Croatia are already in the quarter. So one of them that's one European team there, and then the other side of that is Sweden, Switzerland, and England are 3 of the 4 teams in around the 16. But Colombia is probably right there as far as talent goes with all of those teams, and that's Belgium beating Brazil, France beating Uruguay. So I have an all-European semifinals in the World Cup. Andrew, your prophecy.
Going the opposite of that, I have Brazil making that semi to the semis along with Russia, Sweden, and France.
You have
not European.
And for you, Alvin.
I actually have my semis: Uruguay versus Brazil, Croatia, and Colombia.
So almost an all South American.
Yeah.
If only that top right had a South American team in there.
Like Spain, maybe.
Spain's not South American, bro.
Oh, they're European.
Damn.
Let's end the podcast.
So you don't know geography.
I don't. I get mad when people say that Nicaragua's in South America.
Oh man, I think we had the same instance when you said when you thought that there were 5 faces in Mount Rushmore.
What?
What? I think you were on that. Oh, I think I did Mount Rushmore WWE. Mount Rushmore.
Oh, and I said that.
And Alvin replied with, "Is that 5?"
I said not doing the top five.
I wasn't on that one.
It was bad, yeah.
So one of the guys I used to work with, one morning we were working, and it was when it was like the ice out where it was storming and everything shut down. We're working, and he goes, I never knew that Asia was more than just China. I thought when people said Asia, they just meant China.
Yeah, it's close enough.
And I go, Kevin, can you name all of the continents? And he goes, Coggins, I'm not good at geometry.
God damn it. These people.
Man. So yeah, on that note, let's end this podcast.
Please.
We do have Wimbledon going on as well. So
What's
for
that?
tennis folk, like myself,
privileged.
Yes, Nadal plays in the morning, and there's a chance that 10 years after the arguably greatest tennis match of all time between Nadal and Federer in the finals of 2008, they are the top 2 seeds in Wimbledon this year, with being the odds favorite to make it to another final. So it'll be it's good tennis. You got good soccer going on this weekend, crazy NBA stuff. Major League Baseball is getting to its All-Star break, so I think next week we'll know who's going to be in a home run derby, so we can do some All-Star break kind of talk, mid-season MVPs, stuff like that. So lots to talk about. So this has been the Benchwarmers podcast, and I am Casey Coggins with Alvin Hebert.
We're gone.
And Andrew Lara.
See ya.
See you next week.
We'll take your girl, pay you no mind. Stealing hearts is what we do. Watch out, girl.